Yext. QTI.
LYT. CDO. BDNF.
Yext.
BDNF.
LYG.
BDNF. LYT. CDO.
all doing today? All good, I hope. Take a look at the disclaimer for me there, please, if you don't mind. All for educational purposes here this morning. As always. Here we go. We've got some tickers moving this morning. What you got? Let me know, put them in the chat, and I will take a look, analyse those ones for you that you're looking to trade this morning. And I'll also go through any others that we've got that are popping up on the scanners this morning. Okay, so the liquidity switch on has just occurred, so everything's going a little bit nuts at the moment. So NKGN just spiked up. It spiked up smack into its sell side liquidity pool and then straight back down to its benchmark, which happens also to be, where we go, the kickoff volume also happens to be, yeah, it's messing about with buy side liquidity there at the moment, just spiking into it. But I don't know. That's kind of a short side for me today. There are levels above it, but this from 4 down to 2, it's not literally. I don't mind if it's hovering 50% above its previous move, but this one I do think it's pumps and selling pops today. Just what it's creating there from that high. Now these are, you know, what I think about pre-market switch ons, but if we are using them, it would create a lower liquidity pool right there.
BDNF.
So, can you hear the tape? That's the question. Have I got the tape switched on? Where's OBS? Yeah, yes, you do have it at the minute. If it gets a bit too noisy, I'll switch that off because it can annoy the stream. So what have we had this morning? So my trade this morning that I took on pre-market was MSAI. So let's have a quick look at that. See if that's over or not. Crazy that switch on. So a MSAI this morning had a shoot up from, just jumped on the scanner about 12:30. By 12:37 it had gone quiet, and I had a kind of pull back into my sell side LiquiVision pool. So that's my kind of go-to short trade setup. Aggressive as it is on the front side on day one, if I see the price get near benchmark 2 and it pulls back and then attempts another rush at the high, it doesn't look like it now, but that was quite a rush, then I can get in if that holds, basically. So it doesn't look any higher, and it looks like, you know, there's no reason. If there was gonna be a momentum play, this would be it right here. This would be the momentum play to the upside, and if it doesn't do it, then my target would be to come back to buy side liquidity. This is all drawn in using the LiquiVision tool. So I've spent the best part of 20 years in investment banking, and this is what I've developed out of it. Now I'm kind of out the game at the moment. So so everything's drawn. I primarily benchmarks and liquidity pools that I trade with. There's a little bit more to it than that. There's a number of items that tool does, but for the minute we just concentrate here on benchmarks and liquidity pools. The liquidity pools are hidden. The difference between the two, if I can show you quickly, this is the tape. This is the time and sales. And where are we? What price are we at? 342. Okay, and this is the dome. Okay, so this is the level 2. Now what you'll find when you get into these liquidity pools, just lost both of them, haven't I? 1 sec, let's get them back. Superdom, time and sales, where are you? Okay, so when you get into these liquidity pools, if you're going to get volume to the upside, you'll come down into this buy side liquidity, and just as you've seen this kind of green bar pushing, there's two things that are going to kind of happen. Is you probably won't see the buy side liquidity. So the buy side liquidity down here would be 20 shares, 40 shares, nothing buy side 329 to 327, and then you've got a couple at 20, 20 shares at 26, and 210 at 325. So that is what we are kind of looking. They're hidden liquidity pools, which means all these orders in white. So the retail buyers, retail sellers, buyers in blue, sellers in red. So if you see this and it's a real order and they do not pull it and they do not spoof the order on the tape and it gets filled, you will see them printed here in red or blue. Those orders that are appearing here are kind of in between the bid and the ask. So they can be somewhere in this price range. So this is the current offer, this is current bid, somewhere in between here. And you see them you can see them go through on a time and sales, and you just will not see them on level 2. So yeah, any level 2 based tool is not identifying those levels. So I'm just going to attach it into my prop firm display. Attach and attach. Oh, if I can grab it. Oh no, you're not going to done that, have you? Oh, there you go.
BLNK.
All right, so that's what we're doing, right? So if we're looking for a dip buy this morning on a particular stock, then we are looking for it to come down into a buy side liquidity pool and then work its way out. And we're looking for the time and sales. Now I've got an audio alert that monitors the speed of time and sales. So it will kind of shout out when that specific kind of institutional volume is pushing out of those levels. Now, if we're looking at something, let me try and show you the difference here. So this is a trade this morning that was pumped and dumped pre-market. It met all the criteria for a nice sell for me. This is the trade. So I'm using the prop firm Trade the Pool. I'll post a link in the chat in a bit. If you want to try a demo yourself on there, you can get a 5% discount on an account. And this is the sell up there at 585. So that was just as the retest into that level. If I just move this over, that's over here. So just as we retested into this level here, that was it. It held and then it started to reject off, and I got in just before the bar closed here. So I was in about 585. So 585. Now my ultimate target, so I needed to break this, and this is what I do. I have to anticipate that a buyer's hold liquidity pool is going to fail. Right? You can't get short and not expect one of these to fail, because there's always a buy pool sitting there on every single kind of swing. Now I identify the swings. I'm used to identifying the swings. It might seem a little odd as I do draw them, but I identify those swings, and there's a liquidity pool there. Now, just because there's liquidity there does not mean that it's enough to hold the market. But what you will notice, let's just finish off that recap there. So I am anticipating that this level here is at 529. I was in at 585. So there's 585. The break of this buy side liquidity, you can see momentum. Now if that breaks and that momentum comes into the downside, the target then is kind of $4. I normally get out before that level, because actually there was one here. So if I was currently using this low to this high, it gives me this liquidity pool. This candle pulled all the way back down to 397, so there's another one sitting just above it. So I covered a little bit above that, but there was a nice lovely push all the way down, and even further then after that. It literally has gone now to where it come back from. So this stock is done for me this morning, unless the scanners tell me otherwise, and it kind of comes back to life at some point. But that is that's what happened there. So took that sell there, took half off here, and then it was just before this bigger push. This did look like it was going to be a big push down, and then kind of reacted at that level. So I covered the trade there, but ultimately there was more to go on MSAI for me, but still, nevertheless, a decent start to the day. What was that? 585, 456. There was over a dollar move on MSAI.
RSI.
Now, what else we got going on is the question. So we also had a few this morning. This is like the same old, like what's happening every kind of morning at the moment. So let's have a look at IPA. IPA was another one. Look, so IPA run up. It went straight up into a benchmark. We had stacked benchmarks here. That's the trend line that it was following on the way up. Bounced one more, then went into my sell side liquidity pool. So we topped out right at the top of this level here. We do have two other benchmarks. This is double because it's a little bit messy at the bottom of this chart. So they're kind of two stacked levels, but in any case, they'll be fine. We've got a gap between 342 and 4. So it could have gone for 4 if it wanted it, but it didn't. We've got a double benchmark 1. There's a double benchmark 2 sitting up there. But nevertheless, we have to, we want to try and take some trades. So we have to look at what we've got. So we push all the way through. There's nothing here suggesting any rejection until this point, right? We push right up to that 340 level, come back off. Then we retest that zone again, spike all the way through it, close underneath it. That's the time you can short sell. You can use a stop just above 331, because if this closes, then obviously it's going to start. Let me just pull some of this scanning activity.
RSI.
We'll have a look at RSI. I've heard that a couple of times now. So yeah, that was IPA this morning. Now, if this buy side liquidity
BNZI.
Okay, I'm going to turn this off 1 sec.
BNZI. BNZI. RIV. BNZI.
Okay. All right, there we go. So IPA, different to MSAI, it also come down and got its full target, but it held its buy side liquidity pool at the 200 moving average, right? MSAI did not hold its buy side liquidity pool and come right back down to the lows of where it has begun. So for this one, MSAI is really off my radar at the moment, unless it pops back on the scanner and starts really pumping. IPA is potentially still on the watch list because we have benchmark 2s, right? MSAI was a benchmark 2 play. It was very, very close, 650. Benchmark 2 play. IPA was a benchmark 1 play, and there is still further on it up there between $4 and $4.16. It doesn't mean it has to go there today, and we will need to hear noise on the scanner as well. And we also have a look at the news for each of these. We've still got anything IPA. It's not really running at the moment, is it? IPA. So a breakthrough in AI model utilizing stacking technology is kind of a subsidiary brand of IPA has had a major breakthrough. We don't know quite what that is, but it's kind of a very mediocre. Yes, very low. If I'm grading the catalyst, the news catalyst from 1, or any catalyst from 1 to 5, that'd be about a 2, which is probably why you've seen it go from $1.50 to $3.50 and come back down to $2. Nevertheless, sometimes the catalyst doesn't matter on these small cap stocks, and they can go supernova in any case, and we do have a higher level up there. So we'll see what we've got on IPA. See what we've got to come, and if we get any buyer volume. Now the next one was LIT, LYT. Benchmark 2 play. This runs straight into the benchmark 2 this morning. So straight into benchmark 2 and come off. The buy side liquidity pool was sitting down here. There's a bigger from post market as well, because it started its run from post market. So we have a double whammy on the buy side pools. This one, liquidity switch on has topped and bottom, but actually we'll give it the benefit of the doubt because I don't like that switch on activity. Can be an indication of what price may do, but that might be up there at 9, for example. So at the moment, what we had with LIT was a push up, a test of the sell side liquidity. So we could have shorted up there at 1066, and then not as clean a kind of move off, right, as the other ones have been. The others were very, very quick. This one has come all the way back, so it was a quick 1150 to 870, back into the sell side liquidity, back down again. Still hadn't found the buy side. Went for sell side again, and then we pushed down into the buy side liquidity. Now, if I was watching that all the time, if I'm actually in this trade, I would be monitoring each of the sell side pools. Like literally every one I would monitor as they come down if I'm in the trade. So here, and here is why we stopped there. This one was from this move A to B, and then I would follow each of these moves down as well. So this one spiked into this one, ignored this one, so that would have been a break, and then the dump through. So on the buy side we'd have been doing the same. So you kind of work out why. So this swing come in here. Oops. So this swing, the buy side held, which is why we pushed up further into sell side. And then if we take the whole move, this was working. Buy side sent us to sell side held, but then sent us to sell side liquidity. This then meandered around there, sell side liquidity again, pushed us down. So the break of this normally would be good first time, but this was the second time on this one to push you down into the buy side liquidity pool. Now right now we are negating that because we're right at the bottom, and that could be because it wants to go and grab this. So again, I expect this, if we start going down into this area, to be over for the day. LYT. What is its catalyst here? It's launching a cloud platform, so you know it's all a bit wishy-washy, but wishy-washy enough for it to go from $2.39 to $11 overnight, right? And then now it's coming back to where it was. So we'd just look at this and see if we can get down into the buy side. If it comes to the bottom and this one can hold, then maybe it will push off this one. But for the minute, I'd expect a gap between 680 and 580, so a dollar there that we could trade. Now the only issue with getting short right here is it can pull back. So if we look at each of kind of these moves coming down, it pulls into this sell side liquidity. Now, like I said, this is just the 8 o'clock switch on, so I'll pretty much ignore it, and I would use this down to the next low, comes in here, pushes down. Now, even though the break is here, it's like right now, if this closes underneath this zone, there's a gap down here, but that doesn't mean it can't close below and then come back to its sell side liquidity. So always the best price, right, is coming back to sell side liquidity. That's why it's there in a buy or sell side program. All right, so a quick look here. Yeah, so buy and sell side program just means it's a structured kind of trade where participants can get in at a better price consecutively, one after the other, and it will give you it will always come back and give you a better price until the benchmark has been hit. We don't know whether they double stack benchmark some days. That's when trades go supernova. So if we got to a benchmark 2, so if this wasn't enough, like I said, to go from $2 to 12 to 11.50, if we broke 11.80, it could almost do double. It could almost double it, almost stack it on top, right? Whatever this price move was from 2 to 11, it could do it again. And certainly there is a level up there to say that it potentially could. But that would, if we break this benchmark 2 after we've acknowledged it and pulled back, that is what can send it like really supernova. So that we will look out for that on lit, but like I said, it's pretty wishy-washy on the catalyst front. If you do want to get involved in LYT, I would look for a pullback and rejection into 712 to 725, 710 to 725. There's 15 cents range there. Let's put a little alert on this as it comes into the bottom of it. And sometimes it just spike in quickly and come out. It doesn't generally, if it's going to work, it doesn't take too long. This is not like a benchmark. A benchmark price can accumulate through there. The up and down is pretty much what happens in these liquidity pools. It can kind of go, there's 3 levels in these pools, right? And I've said this before for those been on the stream. In the NASDAQ, you need to have 3 market makers. Okay, when a company lists on the NASDAQ, they have to prove that they have signed up with 3 market makers who will provide liquidity for their stock, which means they will enter the market for them if there is no liquidity and someone wants to sell. Balance the stock, when put the halts on, that sort of thing. All of these rules are in place for these liquidity providers, and you can't enter the market or get on an exchange without having 3 of them. So they compete with each other in these levels. So price pulls back, you can look at it as kind of 3 individual market makers. However, they're all competing at all levels, right? So, and one of them will end up getting the best price in each of these pools. But ultimately, I'm sure they're all making money as they do so. Now, if you think of that up here, so liquidity provider number 1 sitting down here at 965, number 2 sitting up there at 980s, and number 3 sitting up there at 10/10. If this was 3 separate companies at these levels, the person that, the company sitting up there at 10/10 didn't make any money on that because he didn't get the best price they was after, right? So now, if they're all sitting here, which they are really, it's not literally Citadel here, Goldman's here, and JP Morgan here. It's not like that. They're all in the pool, but there are 3 distinct levels. That's the point I'm making. So you can sometimes come into this area once and come off, or you could come into this once and then twice and then 3 times and then come off, right? So it can be worked a little bit, but generally, even if they do it, it can be pretty quick. It can still be so this was like once, twice, done, didn't come up here and get the 2nd or 3rd level. This one punched straight through it. Excuse me. So this one hadn't met the benchmark here, but you would have had a sell side pull sitting up here that could have worked. Now the close worked, but we spiked up into it. Now if we use this one, that did go into the liquidity pool, and this one here, you'll see that then price went bang straight into it, all 3 levels of liquidity there, and then really dropped off. So that's what we kind of looking for. All right, so that's lit. Lit is pushing through at the moment, so now it's pushing through. That's kind of confirmed to the downside. It can either just use the backside of this and carry on pushing, or it can come back for liquidity. But now you've made a new low, that liquidity pool is going to move down here. All right, it's not static, it's not filling a gap or anything like that. It will either come back. So here it comes now for it, right? We'll just move this across. Here it comes now at 7:10. So all we have to watch for is it doesn't break and close above the 3rd level at 7:20. So if it does, it can start to move its way out and look to retest the highs. So if we were looking directly over at the full swing, like the last swing now, from this top to this bottom, if it broke this sell side liquidity here, the target would kind of be up here at this one, which is the last swing. And it'd also be one which is now looking at all different 3 levels for the whole pre-market session. There'll be a wider one which now accounts for kind of like all of these to some extent. So you can leave the individual ones on there, but ultimately the pool just gets bigger because it's across the whole pre-market session. That makes sense at all. So now we're just pushing in. If we did get there, that can be a cent or 2 off, but if we push into this level now, we hold and reject. There's your better price. It's better than getting in down at 6.58. You're now 50 cents. If we get in here, you're now 50 cents better off if we hit the middle of this pool, and that's 50 cents more that you're going to get in your trade down to 5. So if you hear me say the color change or the color game is, I kind of treat, you can see here there are moving averages in line. Right, okay, there we go. There's the alert on LYT. So we've now pushed into that first level of liquidity. I'm going to turn on the audio for the alerts. I want to see if I'm getting some. Jeez. Sec. Let me know if I start glitching out or lagging on this. My main internet provider is down today, so I've switched to the backup on Starlink, and the upload is not great. Download's lovely, but the upload is a bit on the slow side. So if it does start to lag out, I'm going to turn my video off and keep it with the screen share. So I'm going to do that because I'm getting a warning right now. Let me just switch that over. Let's turn that off for the moment. Don't send that up the stream. See if it gets a bit better. Right, so you can see we've come in here and we're now kind of rolling over at that point in this sell side liquidity. So that's good. Okay. There we go. So we are just rolling over now. So what we're looking for really is if you want to get into this, you can just limit order in. You can wait for like a pin bar. You can wait for a green to red move, where the red move must close below the most recent green, if you like. So we've got to close below this kind of pin bar here, because they can still work all three levels before they come off, right? But at the moment, you know, the VWAP was tested on this liquidity switch on. The VWAP's at that 863. We don't want to get caught between a 720 and there, so we're just waiting for that confirmation. So now there's the confirmation there. If we can close below there for a short in order to fill the gap. So that is on LYT. I'm not hearing anything else on the QBTS. So LYT is there. Let me just have a look here. I've got too much open. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. What time we got? Okay, so
MPW.
we're not going to get that in. So LYT, the spread on it is 8 cents. Be aware of that if you are trying to sell on pre-market. You have to limit order in. So you're going to either limit order on 690 and you're already down 8 cents, or you can limit order in at 698, where there's currently one on the offer. So you can offer up there at 698 and you need to come back a tick, just like it has done now. And that is why you see on these down moves in pre-market that they kind of go red, green, you know, red, green, red, green, red, green, red, green. You don't necessarily get constant reds
RGTI.
unless you're in that nice trade at the top where you've literally just come in, touched, and then it just fills the gap, and then it's really nice because no one else can get in. So no one can market order in these trades in pre-market. You're either in on the limit order and you was quick enough, or you're not in and you kind of miss it, right? There might be some kind of orders that you could get in limits around here, but when these ones go, you find you literally, before you know it, you've missed that move. So need to be careful on pre-market of that. So, but it would be nice to continue running down on this
QBTS.
right now. Let's see. What's the price for now? 6.
Snap. 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 Snap.
Okay, so that's LYT. What else we got on? Oh, Brea. BREA.
DNMR.
BREA was a benchmark 1 or 2? 1. You got anything else above that? Okay, so benchmark 2 play. No. Benchmark 2 sitting up here. My bad. You've got a sell side liquidity pool on the daily sitting up here. You've got a benchmark 2 sitting up there at 450. This morning we got into benchmark 1. So benchmark 1, it was pushing on this trend line, then was pushing on this trend line. Just kept on going until we get to the top of the benchmark. So this is where you kind of have to be careful on the play. So for example, this looks like a great short up here, but it's going to be very hard to catch. Now, if you were playing that short, your target would be this last swing here, and your target would be either the top or middle, 215, 205. But you got zero confirmation really up at this level. You're literally just limit ordering on the benchmark and fingers crossed that it doesn't bust through and go to benchmark 2. So it comes down and hits the benchmark. So if you are in, oh, it's not benchmarks and buy side liquidity. Oh, my bad. Okay, so there was one down here. In the first instance, if you don't come and get that liquidity, it can be more aggressive in the direction that it didn't come and get it. So if it's a buy side liquidity pool and you don't come down and get that liquidity, trying to find ones after that may hold, may it just depends on this. So we just missed this one. This one then held. And then after that, we kind of do use every single one. Yeah, so these are opportunities to join. So you can get in here on the little pin bar there with a very small risk. So you're just risking about 10 cents each time one of these comes in and works. And that's, to me, is the definition of a trend. We are in an uptrend, all the while our buy side liquidities are holding. And here we get trapped. So here we get trapped. So we've hit the top of the benchmark here, and I'm looking for sell side liquidity. So I've drawn my buy side in. So this is now a little bit higher because it was drawn to a previous one. So that's the buy side. And this would be the sell side, right? So either this one, doesn't matter. It just gets bigger as you go down. So this is the original sell side. By the time you've got down here, you've tapped into it 3 times. Each of these also being, they will also have their own. It's just everywhere. And people mention about the algorithm. This is kind of it. These pulls there on a tick chart. Even if you look at a tick chart based on the 1 minute candle, you'll still see this pattern occurring. So that's what happens here is we have a sell side liquidity pull up at the benchmark, and that is my ideal short. So I would get in there and risk 310. I don't or a little spike above it. I don't want to be a close above it, because it can then run off and go to benchmark 2, right, sitting up here, or to the daily sell side liquidity. So it could go just up to 388 and come off, right? But we're trading the gaps. We're trying to just take the meat of each of these moves. So what happens here as we come in is we can do benchmarks to the top side and to the bottom side. So we can take this area up here and say, well, okay, where are the benchmarks to the downside? Where should we stop and accumulate? And you would take those swings in, you'd take that accumulation at the top. We change it to yellow so that we know where we're going. Oops, daisy. And see, you can say, here's the benchmark down here. It's benchmark number 1 down here. So ultimately, price wants to get to 180 before anything else in terms of accumulation is thought of. So, and that's exactly where we held liquidity switch on or not. That's exactly where we went to. So, like I said, if we are short, you're short up here around 290s. And again, your first target, you could take some off at 20 cents, 270s. But what I would do is I want to know that I'm safe, and I want to know that a downtrend is forming. So I'm looking at each one of these sell side. There's another one here, right? So we come in, we pull up, and then we go further into the buy side. When you're doing these short sales, you have to anticipate some kind of reward on it. So you have to anticipate. I mean, you shouldn't be getting into the trade short unless you think the uptrend is over, right? That's just kind of crazy. So if we're saying, yeah, either of the benchmarks is an opportunity where the uptrend could be over, then you have to anticipate that we're breaking the downtrend. So if we break the buy side liquidity pool, that's where the momentum's come in. That's where the gap comes in, and you end up getting your cash. So I would definitely be out here at 216, especially because if you zoom into that level, you will find that the buy side liquidity starts holding here, right? And as soon as I see buy side liquidity holding, I don't want to be short anymore. So similar here, ignoring the noise of the liquidity switch on, this held, started pushing up, and I think we're holding that, aren't we? Yeah, and we're holding that last swing up, right? So I'm ignoring the nonsense. Here we go. Let's see that push up there. So if we bring this down, if I was getting long from this liquidity pool push, I would be taking my last swing higher all the way down to the lows, ignoring the pull. Ignoring the liquidity switch on, and I'm bringing it over here to say if I was long there, this would be my sell side target. Now we've still got, well, we got 37 minutes until the open. So now this is an area, I'm not sure I've got these switched on.
BTG.
Yep, so nothing called out on this yet. There should be something on this. In any case, yeah, so we've just pushed into the sell side liquidity. We spiked into the second zone. We haven't spiked into the third zone. If this is going to continue to the upside,
QBTS,
you know, and perhaps go up to this 380 and this 4 level, we have to break 275, 280. That's the key level. This is also still valid because we only come in and got the first level. Okay, so you do have a gap here. If this fails, to go to 75 to 96. See how we're pushing there right now? So we're pushing now. We're going for more liquidity. We've gone for that second side again. There's another one up there at 274. So all you can do is wait. I'm still classing that as valid because I'm ignoring liquidity switch on. So we could still come from 260 down to 215. Kind of stair-step trend every time. Yeah, so this one, stair-steppers come back. Stair-steppers, it's like they hold a momentum trade.
Grom.
Okay, so that is
Grom.
BREA. So it's looking like it wants to drop there.
Grom.
LYT. Oh, so LYT, look, has just broken or attempting to break its sell side liquidity. It's just pushed for that third level, and if this candle closes above, then there can be a gap to fill between you're in the whole buy side here, so it needs to work its way out the buy side, but generally you can have a gap here from 724 up to 865. If it does want to go higher or double top into the open, it has to break sell side at 930 to go to 9 to go for 1130. All right, so we're just playing the gaps in between them. Sophie was on yesterday. So that's it. We've broke sell side liquidity there. So we're not yet coming back to this buy side. So this is when you can think, oh, stocks could have a second wind here. But it's just doing what it normally does, right? So we're just identifying that the trend could just be changing. So sell side holding, sell side holding, sell side holding, even though it's a switch on, not drawn in. The sell side there, look. Okay, sell side holding. And now this swing, your sell side has just failed. So like I said, with that rule that for a downtrend sell side must keep holding, your most minor one and your most recent one has just failed. So this could be a change in trend for lit. So if we was getting long here, you are getting long on basically the high, previous highs being broken. You treat that as kind of one red candle and then one green candle. Alternatively, see this low to this high. The fact that held on the buy side is an indication, right? There's, like I said, there's one for every swing. So we didn't break this buy to come down and fill the gap. We now have another one from this low to this high, where it is right now. So if it stops, it's going to go higher. If it continues, sorry, it's going to go higher. But where it is right now, that sell side is failed, and you would have a buy side. So, and this happens quite a lot, is when you don't draw the buy side and it feels like it's testing the backside of the sell side liquidity pool. You know what I mean? It's whoops.
Sound.
Take this off. So that is, as soon as you've taken all three levels, you don't have to go above, but as soon as you've taken all three levels, even if you come back, that liquidity is gone, right? So that's that. So, and it does bring in, when these break, they're very key levels. So when they break, momentum steps back in. It's a nice place to be because you can expect an instant resolution to a trade you're taking there. So your bias, let's draw this in again. So again, just following this up again, this could pop, but the idea is that we will keep following it until we see some red candles. Yeah, again, so as it goes up, we're just following it up. Yeah, so the aggressive entry is to either you're taking that first buy side that would have held here, or you're taking the break of the highs into that. But generally, you should wait for 723 to go, close above, and then you can get in. That's the chase. So getting in at the close above the sell side is a chase, because at any point, any one of these bars can come back and grab buy side liquidity. So it's totally your choice of how you want to play that when I draw these in. But we should be going up here to 860 now without a doubt. And if the trend has just changed and we're in a new buy trend, then that's fine. That's what it is. We just identify that. What everybody else is going to be looking at is trend lines. Obviously, we anticipate those trend lines because if you think about it, this push in, you'd have 2 points to draw your trend line in, so you'd be drawing it from there, right? And that would come down here. So we anticipated this one coming in. We anticipated this one coming in. Trend line broke, but we anticipate this one coming in, and that's when your trend line kind of goes, well, okay, so where do we draw now? There, and that's a spike there. So it's kind of, this is, there's an art to drawing trend lines and how to execute off trend lines, whereas this is anticipating where the trend line will be. So this one, if you look at it now, if we come into here and reject off, that's going to look like your trend line would be from up here across this one, right? If we literally just wicked into this now and come off, that's the trend line. But that is what forms the trend line. And there is actually a tool in here when we're drawing these levels in that predicts the trend lines as well. Cheeky. All right, so that's LYT in any case. Now let's have a quick look at some other stuff that we've got on that are kind of been going up, and we could have some trades. We could have some trades on. If there's anyone in the chat that does want me to take a look at anything, give me a shout. Don't think I'm ignoring anyone in the chat, am I? Let's get rid of Discord for a
VOD.
minute. No, I'm not ignoring anyone. That's
MPW.
fine. 77 people. Woo! Woo! So lit is pushing now. So you can see there, lit is pushing into that sell side liquidity pool, and it's just rejected off the first level there. All right. So that's exactly what we have just kind of said. All right. So now we've seen that red candle. If it wants to come down and continue the uptrend and let that program get some more liquidity, it's going to come up to
VOD.
It's going to come back down for this one. Whereas now, because we took all of that liquidity, this is finished. The point we hit here, that's finished. So
QS.
up we go. We hit the sell side. So if you're taking that trade 723, I'd be off 858 or just before it, anticipating it just before 860. And now we'll see. Now, small caps can get aggressive. And like I said, these stair steppers can offer momentum plays.
Open.
So if this continued up through 880, 920, 940, 960, closed above this sell side liquidity pool, it's clearly got momentum. And then it changes from, you know, you don't want to chase, but where's the momentum play? And generally the best momentum plays are as the momentum kicks off. So green bar, green bar, green bar, green bar, you're looking for a consolidation to get into that. And that has to occur within these yellow stair steppers for the momentum play. There's a pullback play, which is kind of different. That comes down further, and that should be in a liquidity pool and the moving averages kind of combined. That's the best play. And when you do get in that, I'm looking for the tape to shout at me that there's kind of higher volume coming in that isn't on the level 2. That's what I look for, and that gives me confidence that I can go in with that trade. So right now we do have space above on lit, right? So we come into that benchmark 2 there, we come all the way back. That's a pre-market trade, and that could be pre-market done. It doesn't necessarily mean it's game over for the session. It can come back, and they do come back. So anyone trading small caps should know that they definitely do come back. So because this is negated now, it should invalidate this kind of level as well in terms of support and resistance. Not always, but in the main part, it should do. So now our gap kind of becomes this 711 down to 590. So here comes like an aggressive momentum play because you are getting a color change, right? So this was actually green, but this is the last red bar. If you close above 817, that gives you momentum. What that's got to contend with though is this last swing. It now has 2 jobs to do. It needs to break this one. So if you're wondering why you get into these trades and all of a sudden it just stops in your face after a couple of ticks and then comes back, this is what's happening. So you've got a sell side liquidity pool sitting there. So you've just come into sell side. If we're treating that like we treat a benchmark and we want to get short, well, you want to see it come back to 839, 850 and then reject to come down to this benchmark. Because there's money there, right? This is like 850 down to 750. There's like 90 cents there. So that's a gap that can be played. It's not like you're trying to get involved in 15, 20 cents there. So here it comes now. So let's just have a look what happens on LYT. If we punch through 849, 850, the momentum trade is working. Whoever is limit order in on this kind of, it hasn't actually closed above, but on that kind of play, it's a momentum play in the stair stepping moving averages. It could continue to momentum up, but right now I'm not hearing it on the tape. Although my pre-market tape does seem to be significantly light. So So I'm just checking that out. Play out a second. Okay. What time we got? Okay, it's 2 o'clock, so nearly done with. Well, no, it's just 7 minutes past 2 actually. It's 7 minutes past 9 in New York, obviously in EST. Okay, so yeah, we're seeing if this can come in. Look, it still looks backside play. There's a VWAP here as well, right? So anyone short in VWAP is already in. The limit ordered in at 850s and the VWAP, so it's the $half number, and you're at the VWAP. So it's a decent short. It looks backside. You're under all the moving averages. Even the 200 you're above now, but we've just correct that. You're now above the moving averages, but you're below the VWAP. So there is a short on there. And now it just remains to be seen whether sell side liquidity is going to hold and we're going to get a push down, or whether we're going to break it. It kind of means you're probably going to go for another dollar or so into this zone here. So let's see what it does now. So there is a ping of the first level and a rejection of the first level. And let's see what's going to happen. You can keep drawing these, right? That's how it plays out. You can keep tracking this to keep yourself comfortable that you are in the right side. Yeah. So if we're going to go short,
Next.
you have to anticipate. If you want to short that pin bar there, you have to anticipate that that's going to break. Else, you've still got a momentum play going because you haven't closed beneath the stair-stepping moving averages here. So here we go. It's another push. So these people are getting paid who took that trade. And that is now negated, right? So we're pushing into that next level where we was before. They took the first level of liquidity. They can take that again, or they can push up here into the 9s. There we go. So they're taking the 9s. And all because of this little level down here breaking. He's saying change trend. That is it. So that's kind of it. So we're now pushing right. So that's the level 2 liquidity taken. I definitely need to adjust this scanner here. 1 second. I don't know whether I've silenced the pre-market. 1 sec.
Nexi. Nexi.
Right, let's see. We've got okay. So there we go. So it's going for a double top. So you can see that we didn't come back and get this one. We broke sell side. We didn't come back to get that one. So similarly from when we first started, you know, if you don't come back and get that first buy side liquidity, it's more of you can anticipate more of an aggressive move. And that one there is as good as you can get, coming from 725 right up there to retest that benchmark, which is this pull here, right?
Nexi.
So this push only took the first one. This one has now taken the second and third and is now negated. We don't bring that forward anymore. Okay, and now you've got a push from here to here. that's going to give you your next buy side, which may be aligned, yeah, somewhere just a little bit lower than that. So all sell sides are negated at the moment. All right. So now there is a level above. We haven't even opened yet. You know that there are going to be players that want to buy the break of pre-market high. Now today there is a gap. They could get 17, right? But it's a, you know, it could not get there for another couple of days. So all we're going to do at the moment to see if we've got another short on our hands is take the high and take the low and see if the new sell side liquidity can hold. If it doesn't come and get it, it's going to be more aggressive to the downside. Okay, so if I wanted to get short this now,
VOD.
remember ultimate daily, we want to be resting down here about $5 if it's going to come off, right? And not, there's a short sell on here. I rather like it when it comes back. You have to watch these stair-stepping moving averages. They are opening up. This would be a momentum play, right? 1,
VOD.
2, 3 bars, no more than 5 within that area. I prefer that we hold the level as well, right? Like we are now. I prefer that we hold that level for this to be a momentum play. And spike now, right? Spike now or spike on the next bar, because you don't want a consolidation to turn into a range. Ranges don't really have edge. The consolidation on a momentum move does. But we know we have the sell side liquidity taken here. We've got this to contend with around 64 to 80 to 90. So you could have momentum traders long. They get a push here and then go back and get some further liquidity. So now we've built a really nice kind of push up to this level. These two liquidity pools are now basically joined into one. That's how it works. You can leave them in to know that we did get this one but missed this one. But that's where it is now. So if I was getting a push up here at 69, I'd rather be in at 70 with a rejection to short 50 kind of thing to come down to 830 than I would be at 960s, right? There's a dollar there. It looks close, but there's a dollar in price there. So that's a lot when you're putting a couple of thousand shares on, if that's your right. So here we come. So there's the momentum play, the color change. You've come into this level. If we now break 84, where was our high? You can double top into 1150, or we can reject off right here, right now for a push down. Right, so now our momentum buyers are in trouble. But we're still holding the stair steppers, all right? We're still holding the stair steppers. That's just been acknowledged, level 2. There's another one up there at 90 if it wants it.
Says.
So my money flow scanner.
Says.
Okay, anything else? Any other tickers you want me to take a look at? I'm happily do so at the minute. I don't see anything different. NKGN's kind of on there, but nothing different. NKGN just held its sell side liquidity. Quick look. NKGN. Remember, there is a potential short trade about to confirm on lit. Yes, at NKGN, this is still the valid pull coming across. It's stacking. There's the benchmark from earlier. That's a big daily liquidity pull there from the whole move down, right? There's two of them. That's the first swing. This is the second swing. So if NKGN is going to pop anywhere near higher, because there is a level, did we take that out? Yeah, there is a daily level sitting up there. It would have to, so let's just draw that in now actually. How far is that away from this one? And where's the liquidity switch on? Kind of like, actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with the first swing because that was acknowledged by the liquidity pool. Seems as it's a little bit messy there. How far away is that? Yeah. Okay, so all I want to do is just treat that as one because if we push down into it, that's where it's going to be. So what can NKGN do? We're either backside and we're looking for shorts, which is the case right now. Look at that. That's got to be backside. You come all the way down there. If you're looking to where we held from the whole move, where we started off in post market on the 5th, all the way up to the high of the 6th, we will be resting in that big pull. So that's why it's there. Come in, look, pinpointed that target 2 area. There's still one left down here. I won't draw green over green here, but there's still one left down there that it can come and get. But ultimately, if we're looking to make new highs, this one will hold. If it's continuing to backside short the pops, then we've got this guy here. The price between there is 224 and 197. Yes, if you're a scalper, go ahead, but generally I'm looking for a bigger move than that. The trade, if you do want to take, is this: if we stay between 195 and 183 and we start to roll out and the scanner says, yep, we've got buy side volume coming in on the tape, that's the kind of best entry of the day, assuming it continues to go long. But at least then you will have a target. So by the time we get down to here, you'll be getting in at this kind of 190s to 220s. You got 30 cents on that as first target, but that's when it could actually run, right? You don't know it's not going to run second day. But that's not got down there yet, so we'll see what happens. Not seeing CELZ coming up on the tape. CELZ. The previous runner from CELZ. So this, it come back to its manipulation zone. I'll check where its buy zone. It's so that's the idea on these trades. We don't get in on the accumulation area, right? We wait for the breakout of the accumulation area, and we're trying to take the meat of the move, which is here and or here. Now this one was kind of just a little bit of a fake up, so benchmark 2 held and then backside. If we're looking for where the whole move's buy side liquidity would be, we've been in it, all right? So you can drag that one across. And that's when you get to say whether or not like an all-day fade is kind of worth it. When you're sitting in all this lunchtime action, and then it actually kind of really fills the gap in the pre-market, right? Lunchtime action, pre-market action, right? It's whether you want to sit. I wouldn't want to sit in that. If I was shorting that from up here on a pre-market trade, that would be my target down there at 850s,
says,
and we would go. So now currently says is running again. And we know that it's got a benchmark
says,
2 up there.
says,
But right now, this is a sell side liquidity ball that it didn't come and get. And it can go straight up there. Yeah, it can go and get that. There'll also be another one just up here, which is based on the session. Whoops. Okay, so CELZ could push again. Let me think about where the shorts are. The shorts would have liked a round number. The shorts would have liked that. So see where that line is there? That's where I'm expecting shorts, retail shorts, to want to come in and limit order in. So at 6 on the round number, previous resistance, that's where they want to get in. So they're now feeling the heat. They'd have to work on the trade. And you can see here, I wasn't looking at this at the time this morning.
Says,
using the last swing of this pre-market that comes down, the sell side fails. So as soon as that sell side fails, we are getting long. You can get long, sorry. So sell side, that sell side hitting in there. As that breaks, that is your confirmation that your buy side pull has still been working. And all the while you're sitting in there, you can have a revival trade that could be just a retest of the benchmark or the previous highs in a double top.
Katie
YB Trades, how you doing, mate? Yeah, buddy.
Says,
you too.
Says,
you too.
Says.
So yeah, here we go. So we're breaking now that sell side, or at least testing that sell side now. So you could definitely run up and grab these two benchmarks right now between 820 and 875.
Says.
Okay, so the long from the break of 5. There we go. Right now, that's in the benchmark. Now, what you got to watch is a supernova is a break of this 875. Break and close above. There can be huge risk on it. Otherwise, we are kind of expecting that this area should hold for a decent potential for a short. That is what we've got. All right, so CELZ. Now, we're real coming up to 5 minutes away. So we're going to have the open momentum coming in. This is the one that is shooting up on the momentum scanners for me right now. And retail is going to be looking to buy the break above 850 or this high, whatever the pre-market high, 862.
Snap.
There's the momentum trade sitting in right there. That's your little momentum. I said no more than about 5 bars, and it's got to hold the lows there. That is your level. Hold. That's a decent entry to get in on one of these last few candles here, or a close above, and off it goes. Now we are looking at a potential rejection here. Keep drawing some crap on here. Let's get that off. Okay, now my low, if we go lower, I'll track it. But right now, yeah, we're coming back into it, and I'll no, we're going for it. Right, so now you just got a number at 9. It may want to spike to 10 and close under, but right now that's what I'm looking at. So right now, that last sell side failed, as you can see. So we're looking at the next one. So the high to the low here, if we can come back to 880s, 890s, I prefer to see that, but it could just dump off, right? It's done it before. So front side, super aggressive, just looking to see what happens here. We have a 860 benchmark, $9 benchmark. There we go. Let's see what we get. So now our liquidity ball is going to come down a minute. So we just got the close below the benchmark, or we just got the push below the benchmark and the last green candle. I'm going to take it to the low there. Oh, we're almost in exactly the same spot now, just a little bit tighter. So still sitting there at 870s for a look back. And that for me is
BTG,
just kind of a confirmation that we don't want to push any higher. We attempt to and we don't. Oftentimes that is on lesser volume, right? So see this volume candle here sitting up there at 180,000, is that 190 odd thousand? If we push back up to here on 50,000 or 70,000, then
BMR,
it's not so aggressive. But right now,
snap,
this doesn't always come back. Remember, if this is going to be aggressive push, doesn't need to come back and get it, right? It went for one push and then another push. There's two pushes there already. One's higher than the other. We may not come back and get this. If we shoot through and close above 9 now, you can supernova on this. So just be very careful. So let's see. We're still in the same place, right? Yeah, just a little bit lower. And we're just coming into
BMR,
2 minutes now before the opening bell. Let's see what we got. So the scanner is probably going to go nuts as we let that initial liquidity go or dry up. So let's see what's going to happen here. I feel like we're going to get perhaps a push up to 10 to take those buyers in.
BMR.
Let's see what we get. So CELZ.
TAL, NYCB,
Oh,
IONQ,
IONQ,
IONQ, NYCB, IONQ says.
Alright, says it push on it. And look at its 87 to 890 level.
Says
Watch for it.
MSAI. Apvo RSI
So didn't quite push into there. Buy side liquidity on the first stretch is looking here. Yeah, let's see what we've got here. Oops, leave that there. I'm just dragging this down to the new low, right? Because we are going to come lower for this. Very careful now, because if this is a momentum trade coming on, we're retesting those highs. Retesting those highs. Here it goes. Here it goes now. Straight in there now. This either rejects now or be very careful for a close above 9. Here comes on the scanner. Sounds like says, but it's sells. Here it goes. It's going to take in those pre-markets. Let's see if it takes in the pre-markets. Stalling. Still got them on the tape. Still coming buy side on the tape now. Right, so we break above 9. Be careful.
MNMD. Fin.
Okay, it's very, very close now for a big pop. This is last. It's dried up, but let's see. Is it either going to pop or drop? There's that level. Halted.
LYT.
So CELZ halted on the buy side.
OMH.
Lit is taking. Lit in. As soon as that stopped, Lit is taking the money. Lit is this. Let's close. Let's close because this is a no. It didn't go for its buy side liquidity. It's actually sell side moved down here because it moved lower, right? So sounds like that's going to halt as well. 9 to 11 in 1 minute. My guess is that's going to halt. Yep, lit halted. So 53. I'm actually getting my timing in fractions. APM also halted. So CELZ is a halt and lit is a halt on 32.05 for CELZ and 32.53. Brea taking the money flow. See, now they're halted. They're just we're moving over to BREA now. So Brea, pumping on Brea, pumping out of its buy side liquidity. Brea, buy side liquidity. AIRG halted. Okay, so this liquidity pool still stands. There will be another one that will be an earlier indication coming in here. Tesla has taken a massive run up at the moment, so just letting that business be conducted out there. Just keep an eye on these. Right, so Tesla's business areas are 177, well, where it is right now, 178, let's say.
LPSN. Grom. Eva.
So aggressive out the gate from Tesla.
AIHS.
So Brea just come off there, took some money flow, still backside on that move at the moment. MND pushing. What have we got up there in MND? We've got 10, 1050, 1070 on benchmark 2. There is a momentum play. There's your momentum play. Just on the momentum play there, long, almost right now, just 30 seconds ago. Right, tick alert. I've got an IPA. Just
LPSN.
Okay. This halt. Oh, lots of halts. Hints, flicks, swing. 705, 3705, 2 minutes and 5 seconds ish.
AIHS Grom.
So there's the momentum play on MND. There is a bogey level smack in the middle here, just need to be careful of at 9. Ultimately, it should look for 10, but it can go to 9 and come back, get some liquidity. So we'll track that up. This has got liquidity. Just checking out. Okay, so that could be sell off. What's the NQ doing? NQ is punching higher right now. NQ punching higher, just about getting into its benchmark right now. Delta's telling me that it was super high, which can be the start of a sell-off, but it can take about 20 minutes to work through all the indexes, all the stocks, basically. But if it stays up there, it can also indicate a tremendous trend day on the cards. So we'll see. Okay, so NQ pushing up. Super bullish move since the overnight session on Globex. And what are we looking for up there? Yeah, so we've just broken its benchmark number 1. MNMD pushing. So this is the This is where the money is at the moment.
MNMD.
MNMD. And pushing for that 90 level now off of the momentum play.
MNMD. Brea. MNMD. Brea. MNMD.
Checking Brea again.
Brea.
Okay, so it's we are hearing noise of Brea from the liquidity switch on lows. If I take it, I don't really like to, but right, there's another one here. So we're stacking buy side liquidity down here. Doesn't mean it's going to push, but you are hearing money flow come into that. That's Air G again. Not again, that's Air G halted. So this is buy side. All right. Look at the CELZs come and resume.
IPA.
Already missed the resume.
IPA.
I should have resumed already. IPA. Okay, that's the one we looked at this morning. IPA. So have a look at this Brea trade. Okay. Brea's got another level up there, 450. It's pulling out of its buy side liquidity right now on BREA. Right. Just watch this level here. Swing halted. Just watch this level here, right? That's the one we've got to break. Just bring this down to ECV. Right, so you can trap in between these levels. That's the key one. If you break this 229, that's the one that's going to indicate it's going to target this one, this one, this one. All of them have liquidity left in them. And if it can, aggressively, you can go up. MMND still on the long as well.
MNMD.
Right, so still going to have a bit of time. CELZ looks like it's going for a 10-minute halt. It was like literally on a 1-minute bar. They just shot up. 7. What was that? No, actually, for that 2 minutes when you opened, 711 to 880.
MNMD. 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 MNMD.
Here. NQ still going. Okay, comes Brea on the tape again. So just acknowledging now. Acknowledging this level. That's FLYX halted if you're on that. Got to look at IPA. IPA. Okay, that's the one we looked at. Working its way. IPA working its way out. It also has room to the upside for a long. HINST halted. All right, coming down here. Where have we got sell side? Okay, IPA's target. First target is going to be around 285 to 3. If it can work out of that zone, right? It is indicating it's got money flow.
CLSD.
Can retest.
CLSD.
215, 16. It kind of is now. So IPA needs you need to hear IPA on the tape again if we're pushing out that area. If it breaks below that, it's off the cards.
CLSD.
All right.
CLSD.
Yeah, still haven't come down here to 188, so there's still some liquidity down there if it wants it. So IPA and Brea looking. The fact we got the noise on the tape is a attempt push out of the buy side liquidity pool. The sell side liquidity pool keeps us out of trouble, which is what it's done right now. Every swing is going to have just what I draw for IPA. We're going to have it here as well. AVPO on the halt. Here we go. Right, there's the 10. Do they want a short 10? Do they want a short 10 or is it just going to flow here? Here we go. We'll see now. Quick look back at this CLZ.
Says.
Okay, so that's the pop. That's taken everybody in, right? Everyone that wants long off this is either going to go or not now.
Says.
Everyone's just long off of that move.
Says. LYT. Says. Hofer.
It's not confirmed yet, but I've lost level 2, so I'm assuming that's a halt down on CLZ already. 1025, yeah, that's a halt. It seems to be a little delayed, but we are going to get another siren, I think, on that. The delay on trade ideas on the halts is kind of terrible.
LYT.
So lit calling in. So let's just have a look here. So that's not even CLZ yet.
IPA.
Right, so we just pushed the bar. I said it might push for 10 to take those guys in. Anyone that got along the break of that at 923 is taking heat right now. Now, if they think they're wrong, IPA is trying to work out that level again, right?
CDMO. LYT. CDMO.
Draw that a bit bigger. Oh dear, there's the CLZ and lit halt. Right, so where's the money going now? Does it go to Priya or IPA?
WV.
Air G halt. Air G resumed, sorry. What is going on here?
LYT. CDMO. APVO.
Right. Lit. My bad. My bad. Oh, sorry. This is trade ideas. Right. Lit. Tried to come down for its buy side liquidity, is off and running. It's looking for 17. There's a bogey level in the middle here, just 50% in. It was very close to it. If I draw a triangle here,
IPA.
just below where that 50% line is between the two.
LYT.
So that is the bogey level. Normally comes back from the bogey level to find some more liquidity to the buy side. NQ's now coming off. Let's have a look at Tesla. Okay, Tesla's now coming off as well. So let's see if that is a pullback or not.
IPA. OCA. IPA.
So IPA taking the money flow now, pushing out. So IPA looks good at the moment. Still very backside. Look at this. It looks back. But I'm just saying, there is, like, we've seen trades do this, tickers do this time and time again this year. Pre-market, come down, rest in the buy side liquidity pool, and then go further. You just need to be careful because it hasn't come back. You might want to come back and get its buy side liquidity first. There you go. That's just a push. Again, looking for it. High to low. There's that sell side. Just going to get trapped. Stay in between them. Don't do anything. Sit on hands until one breaks. All right. So 239 breaks. Else, if we hold $2, that's your lowest risk if you want to buy IPA, because you can literally put a stop down cents below, right? You can put it down at 185 if you're getting in at 2s, 25 cents, and you could go to 4. So 25 cents risk for a $2 reward there.
OCA.
Else, if we don't come back here, watch for the break of 238. Putting that lower on 238.
CLSD. BRCC.
Okay.
IPA.
So BREA is the other one I kind of liked. We've come in deep into the liquidity pool here. Again, sell side liquidity saved us from getting long. There's not a lot for me really in a resting short.
Big.
So if this is over for me, if there isn't going to be a long trade on a comeback from this. So that was
IPA.
null and void. So IPA is trying again. So there's the new sell side for Bria now. Digging into these lows. The VWAP's up here, so you've got two. This one's done, so you've got this liquidity pool and this liquidity pool
WV.
to
IPA,
contend
IPA.
with.
Brea. Sup.
All right, so IPA still toying with that sell side liquidity, so backside until that sell side breaks. Litz is back. Back again on the tape, still pushing, so it's pulled back. Litz going to push again. Be careful of that, right? You are. So this pullback doesn't really constitute a momentum play, but you have got a color change occurring right now. SWN resumed. Oh, that's a bit big, but you get what I mean.
Big.
So color change there. So there will be players on momentum here. We've broken pre-market highs. The safe thing to watch out for is this 13 level, 1350. If we break that, we're going to look for 16. Else we are, the conservative short is up here at 1309. Conservative is very front side, but you know what I mean. The textbook for me is level 2, which we've got one here. We do have another one up there, but now a close below these stair steppers could indicate the sell side on lit. BREA pushing up now again, pushing up out of its very low liquidity area. I wonder if BRA's got any legs today. Coming out on the tape again. Doesn't mean anything unless it can really break 222.
Apvo.
So I'm showing you this as it goes minute by minute, right? But obviously on these stocks you can literally take a chill and just do the daily move, right? You're just trying to catch the one move of the day. So
WV.
let's have a look here. Just see what we got on test.
BRCC.
Just want to look at CLZ a second. I feel like that's due to come back. CLZ. Come on.
Apvo.
43. 53. 53 and 31 seconds.
AQST.
Which is just over a minute away. NQ is just coming into its sell side liquidity. If this holds here, the high of day could be at the open there at 237. 18204. Right, here comes CELZ any second now. 15 seconds should be. And let's see what we've got. Previous hole at 81. We're at 64.
CLSD. WV.
Just getting it back to CLZ. You've got a few seconds now. No. No return of CLZ. Just checking NASDAQ. Just to see if that is... OCEA has just been halted as well. CELZ. No, yeah, it is. 43, 53. So another 5 minutes to go on CELZ. So just bringing in the NQ for a second. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. We are in a benchmark on the NQ. It's quite big. It's got up to 18,300, but we did hit this on volume just after the open here. There is a sell side liquidity here, so we'll see what it does. It's OCEA resumed, so we can see what it does here. But this could be a nice level to get involved with at this point. We just want to see if it comes off here. Yeah, so sell side liquidity on NQ. If I look at Tesla, taking some money right now. So Tesla went for its best execution price up here. It should have been around 178.30. It's pushed a bit higher. Now we can see Tesla is sitting as well in sell side liquidity. Get rid of this one. Sell side liquidity for Tesla there. Buy side. Let's see where that was. Oh, yeah, okay. Let's just check Tesla for a second here. I think Tesla might want to come back and grab this liquidity down here. See if we get that. Right, NQ's just topping out. It's literally trying to close above that level. Tesla's trying to close below. So let's, in the meantime, set alert on NQ, see if we can't get it back below. So lit actually absorbing here. You can tell by the amount of orders that are going through that it's absorbing this price at 11.50 right now. It can push after, but let's see what happens. What have we got above? Yeah, we have one above. Broke above, got to that bogey level. Let's have a look here. So it's got two to contend with. Tiny one right here. Oh, dropping off the tiny one. What's everyone else got here? NQ now back down, right? So NQ is now back down. So to see what Tesla is going to do here. Come on. Right, so Tesla's working off its sell side liquidity right now. There's the NQ coming off its Really? Where's my drawings?
SPPL.
There they are. Yeah, so that was its that's its sell side. 50 or a little bit. What the actual?
Grom.
Are we back? I just lost you. CELZ. Are we back?
LYT. 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 LYT.
Okay, CELZ coming off.
IPA.
So I didn't get a chance to add on to CELZ, but I am short CELZ. It was too, yeah, I just didn't get a chance to, as this closed in. It halted right there, so is now dropping off. I don't know whether I've dropped you off the stream though. Anyone in chat, just put a Y in the chat if I'm back. I know I just dropped out on that backup internet there for a second. So IPA and Bray are being called out on the tape now. So they're the ones that kind of keep shouting out from the long side. Oh no, we are going short on Bray. 1 second, it's pushing off of the very low there, right? Negated here. This is now pushing off the very low. Still very weak. Not really considering it, even though it's trying to push. It'll need to do more than that. LYT the same. Looks weak if we can't get across this $12 area now as well. CELZ still pushing, short CELZ. Okay, if we break this benchmark here on CELZ, look. Okay, so that's what we said. This kind of area, it pushes up, it takes those longs in that are all getting long on the pre-market chat pumps. It smashes back down, halts. No one likes sell side halts. People don't mind long side ones, but sell side ones are not good. And there you go, coming straight off. Now, 626, if this can break, if that can break, it could just look for literally $5. Looking for a close under 625. Really? Yep, okay. Lit is pushing. It's attempting to break. It's just taken the full liquidity off there at 12. So really this is negated. Doesn't mean it can't, like, it could have done its job at all three levels. But it's negated in terms of any more liquidity there. All right, so it can push off this level. So looking short for Lit, if you think about it, it's also done the same. Lit went to its benchmark. We punched above the benchmark, got all those buyers in, got them all excited, and now we are pushing off that level. So Lit is a short if we can, you know, you've got the VWAP and the trend line right there if you want some confirmation. This is our close below all of these candles on LYT. Get LYT up here. Okay, just looking and waiting on this VWAP play, see if they can get anyone in. But that didn't come for this. To me, that's aggressive. It didn't come for that. It just only come for this one. I'll put CLZ into one of these. Okay, CLZ looks to be all right. Here we go on lit.
VTYX. Brea. Brea. Brea.
All right, CLZ buy side liquidity pool here. Really want to see a momentum trade in here. I don't want to break these highs.
WV.
We've got the Fed speaking right now as well. Not the amount of small cap land, but that NQ box that is in there couldn't break out of that sell side liquidity.
Says. LYT. LYT says. LYT UK. LYT. LYT says. LYT.
All right, watch lit is pushing. Lit can come back and get this liquidity if it wants it. There's also liquidity at the top.
Brea. 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 LYT. Brea. 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 Brea.
Okay, so lit didn't come back for that now. Looking to see if it can close below lit.
Brea.
Brea's giving me some noises at those very lows. Look at that. Off the very, very low area, it's giving you some noise, but it's still not managing to break it. Every single sell side liquidity fall, unfortunately. It's a little bit weak with that money flow coming out. It is attempting at every one, but until it passes there, it's not necessarily on. Sell side sitting there. That's where it is. So it's not got or shorted each one so far. Just looking at my Tesla play. Yeah, nice Tesla play. 78 all the way down. We're looking for 174 on that. 174.75 or 174.41. CELZ, I believe, is stuck at the bottom of its first liquidity pool. Yes, it is. Not getting a momentum play out of there right now. Feel like that's trying to range. We'll just hold on to it though for a little while. Need to kind of fade some of these boxes out so you can see what's actually going on with the candle. Transparent these down a bit. So NQ still trying to hold on for this Fed news by the looks of it. I'm still holding on for a flush. I've got a gap right below here. 628 if we can push. Let's take a look at the tape on CLZ. All right, it's trying to creep up right here. It's holding a... Okay, so... So my worry with CELZ after those halts up on that volatility is that it comes back to get this one that is now up here.
says 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 says
See that buy side coming in, so I've just seeing if that's a pop or a real kind of input. Let's tidy this up a little bit. I know this because it's gone to benchmark 2 and come back to the buy side of benchmark 2, so I'm taking those off just in case it's going to work its way all back up. This is negated, right? So that's gone. This one I was hoping would pay me down to 450. So covered that all off. Yeah, that's unfortunate. No momentum play there. That looked perfect for a momentum play there. Right there, that looked really nice. But no, it's coming. Is either coming back to get some, or it is just taking those stops out and playing with those initial longs that broke the high. Could be filling the gap from the whole. Any of those doesn't really matter. All that we know is that is buy side held, and it's now looking for upside. So I'm going to take the high of the halt. I'll take the high of the halt here as the first initial level. Oh. All right, so to push higher, you've got to break 789 if we're going up to test this one at 9. This has got a money flow at the moment. If that high is going to hold and turn into anything, it's got to recognise this level or not go there at all. So NQ. Okay, see, waiting for the new. We're in that sell zone there. We're in that sell side liquidity. It can drop to here. It didn't. It's waiting for that news and that Fed report or discussion to occur. Oh, here we go. Another test of that high. Sell side liquidity. Best to let that play out, to be honest.
Grom.
I think everyone's doing it. It's gone very, very quiet on the tape now. Tesla wants to come and get a new level before it reaches that buy side pole. It's going to be down here at 177.07 to 177.50.
BYRN. BYRN. BYRN.
So lit short confirmed. A little bit late. The entry was kind of the close below these, or this buyer at 10.99 anticipating the break.
AQST. IPA, 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 IPA,
IPA calling out on the.
IPA, 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 IPA,
You know, the rich kid that
IPA,
blows money on
IPA.
everything because he always goes, well, there's going to be more.
And you know what they say?
IPA.
What's the easiest way to get $1 million
AQST.
in your trading
IPA.
account? Well, you start with 10 million.
Yeah, exactly. that's about how it goes. And
IPA,
so seriously,
LYT, LYT,
So lit on as well.
who've been trading for a
IPA.
long time
IPA,
have
LYT,
come to
LYT,
one decision.
LYT,
What
LYT,
you
IPA,
are is a
IPA,
risky
LYT, IPA,
manager.
LYT,
That's all you are.
LYT,
You're a risk.
So no one
LYT,
got the Fed. Just looking for
LYT,
the Fed
Freya.
coverage here. I thought Topstep was going to have the Fed coverage, but here we go.
Basically is how I would say it. If you look at Silicon Valley Bank, we weren't quick enough and we weren't effective enough where we were in. And so we're working hard to develop a new rule book and another set of practices, which is still
Fin.
going to be evidence-based and fair, but it's
So
going
NQ breaking to the upside, just
earlier
double
interventions and
right
more
at its
effective
previous
ones. And, you know, I think
resistance
this
from that double
work
side.
that's
It's pushed it
ongoing
now.
and
Now it's
will
going
be
up
for
now.
some time.
Thank you. The
Freya.
job of the Fed, of all public officials, is to serve the
WV.
American people,
Freya.
not their stock portfolios. We've seen abuses in this body. We've seen
Freya.
abuses at the Federal Reserve. I wrote to you
Freya.
last month
So
asking
Tesla
the
coming
Fed
back
to
for that
identify
area now. So do we
substantive
want to see this
penalties for board
17720
officials
before
who
we
violate
see?
the trading rules? Where is that in place before the next monetary policy hearing in 6 months? Where is it?
So we got our own Inspector General gave us 6 things to work on. I read the list from beginning to end, and the 6th one was what you said, and I just said we're going to do all of these. Let's get going. So we've done 5 of them, and we're working on the 6th.
CRCT,
And it will be finished within 6 months when you're back.
I want to get it right. I certainly hope so and expect so.
Expect so is a better answer than hope so. One last question. More and more, many companies use algorithms that combine competitors' price information to engage in what they call dynamic pricing or surge pricing. You know that corporate PR teams worked hard on this.
LYT,
Just another
LYT.
way for corporations to make it harder for consumers to seek out lower prices and to pad corporate profits. Are you concerned that the wide adoption of these price gouging
LYT,
strategies,
LYT,
these
LYT,
pricing
LYT,
schemes, if you will
LYT,
contribute to
LYT.
inflation?
LYT,
I mean, I think it works both ways. Let me say that, we're well aware of this trend and we're monitoring it. Remember that prices go down when there's no one in the store, and they go up when there are a lot of people. If you're doing dynamic pricing, same thing with the ride companies. It works both ways. I don't know that it have implication for inflation. It would certainly have implications
LYT.
for consumers who need to be informed.
LYT,
You think
LYT,
that this
LYT,
kind of
LYT,
surge pricing might lower
LYT.
prices overall?
I mean, that's my understanding is that the idea is that in
Freya.
slow periods,
Freya,
prices actually go down.
LYT,
In
Freya,
higher
Freya,
period, in
Freya,
busy periods,
Freya.
they go up.
But these
Freya.
are sophisticated economists working for these big companies.
Freya,
and they're not
Freya.
going to do things to lower their profits.
Freya.
So lit potentially
Freya.
coming back here then.
Price mechanism is incredibly important in our economy.
Freya.
I think
That
giving
last
the
swing.
companies the freedom to do that, as long as they're
Freya.
not fixing prices.
Gonna move this
or
down.
failing to disclose the nature of the price changes to the public.
I have a few seconds. Research is
There's still
indicating
more on
constrained
pre-SO,
supply was
on
behind a
pre-SO on
significant
lit.
amount of the inflation we've seen over the last
Right,
few
so
years. If the supply chain, for instance, of
That's
autos were
why
more
we have to watch
resilient,
out for these
or if
levels.
there'd been more housing availability, would that have made your job easier?
Yes, in a word. Yeah, a big part of the inflation was.
It's funny how all the
we
scanners
saw
have
it
stopped
in
shouting when the
2023
Fed speech
supply chain
going on.
problems unwound, and when the labor supply shock that we had unwound as well, we saw inflation come down very quickly in the second half of the year. But it's also down to tight monetary policies playing a role as well.
Which leads me to the plea with you to speak out about inflation, about the contribution
LYT,
of corporate
LYT.
profits and greed to inflation. Thank you.
LYT.
So if we can push up 1130, 1150,
LYT.
and then short,
LYT.
that would be nice.
LYT.
Well, I was seeing yourself agreeing with me more and more often. Is that what?
That would be a nightmare, and I'm awake. So, what I would say, however, is that the fact of the matter is that so often, if in fact 60%, I actually listened to what you said, which was
Right, here comes an LYT push. So it's a push out of a buy side liquidity pool, so it can be bullish, but it's got to contend with the bearish one. So let's see what happens.
The down payment for a home. I can't imagine how they take into consideration when they're looking at a snapshot of their financial future, fixing and repairing.
CELZ 664 still there, right? So that's got room. That's just done it.
I think the issue is far more complicated. I would love to delve into that.
There we go on CELZ.
But my first question is a combination between the challenges of illegal immigration and crime. It seems like every single week there's another story of another city underwater attempting to feed and house millions of illegal immigrants and American taxpayers.
So a quick look at these ones that are being called out now, what we've got on our list from this morning. LYT, short off the benchmark, took in the longs from pre-market, who are long in pre-market highs, the break of pre-market highs, and now confirming short side right now. Just took a look at that sell side liquidity there, so anything below this candle can be short side, anticipating a break right now. You're coming into 330, things can get a little bit crappy going through 330. CELZ working, just broke out of its most recent sell buy side, still working this one here though. Really needs to break out of the bottom of that one. There shouldn't be any more left in there really. And then there's the gap down. Let's get rid of some of this noise. That's all front side levels, front side level. Yeah, so here we go. Not if we can get a nice pull up there, that'd be lovely, because then we get 7 down to 5.
So my question is, can you explain
it's only time of day that is the issue with that, right? I think it's only time of day. So we do have, it's one of those where we could go through lunch just chopping between this lot, and then after lunch it goes bang, and then it drops down to 5, right? There's nothing you can tell about that. So BERE, just broken sell side liquidity pool and did hold its buy side. Look, right at the bottom. So first indication of a potential change in trend is that you can hold first buy side, which has just come in.
But I would say right before that, what I said was immigration policy, very important, very much under discussion.
Okay, so
and it's none of our
we've
business.
just held the buy side liquidity and just breaking sell side. What does that mean? It means that that sell side comes over, and you have from here a new buy side developing. So they can come down here. So, and that's what's going to determine if we've got a trend trade on. Either misses one and gets aggressive. Raya, I might take a little long myself here.
Parts of America face on a daily basis.
So, as you accurately quoted, I said over time. So I was referring to the history, which with you agreed. So I was staying as far as I possibly could from the current political context. And, it's really not appropriate for us. We're independent. We like to remain that way. And the way we do that, one of the ways is by staying out of political issues that we really aren't assigned. And so the kinds of issues you're talking about are very, very real. I don't deny that, but they're really not for us.
So the Fed does not consider the impact of 10 million illegal immigrants coming to our country and the costs associated with those illegal immigrants, nor do they consider the impact on states like New York or California or Illinois, where the devastation of crime ravishing the poorest Americans has an impact. We don't take that into consideration.
So we do and so does the Congressional Budget Office. We do try to estimate population, and we try to estimate the effect of immigration, legal or illegal, on the size of the workforce and on GDP. If you look at the Congressional Budget Office,
IMRM working above as well, doing a very similar thing now, holding
we don't
buy-side
really have
liquidities
a
to the
way,
upside
and
after
we
failing
do look at the
sell-side. Theirs is for
finances
sell-side
and the
fail.
aggregate of state and local governments. That's in the hiring that they do. So that's something we look at, but we wouldn't do a
Holding
very
buy-side
specific assessment like that.
twice now, I
CBO
think.
we probably would, but
Once.
we wouldn't do that.
Thank you.
There
SPPL.
and twice
Under
right there.
Independence of New Jersey's recognized.
If you bring it over
Thank
right
you,
there.
Mr. Chairman. Before I begin my questions, I want to celebrate that in the past
Oh,
year,
3
we have
times.
seen the first Latino Federal Reserve governor and the first ever Latino Federal Reserve Bank president. These are historic milestones that show we are finally making progress after quite some time, to the leadership
MNMD.
of our economic institutions. So I want to applaud that. And Mr. Chairman, I hope that progress can continue and extend to the rest of the Federal Reserve staff.
Thank you.
I agree with my friend, the ranking member, that when you tell a story, you should tell the whole story. Mr. Chairman, are you aware of the Washington Post February 27th article that says the economy is roaring and immigration is a key reason?
I don't recall that, but I would have read it.
Let me read it to you. Immigration has propelled the U.S. job market further than just about anyone expected, helping cement the country's economic rebound from the pandemic as the most robust in the world.
So no chasing. You can buy a pullback to kind of 870, 860 if we get it. It's going for that benchmark up there at 1040, but not chasing.
That threaten the country's ability to recover
CRCT.
from prolonged shutdown.
MNMD.
Would you take issue with those statements?
You know, there are a lot of adjectives and adverbs in there that you wouldn't see in Fed world.
MNMD.
Take out the adjectives and give it on the
The
substance.
story
MNMD.
is, I
MNMD.
think broadly,
MNMD.
it is that
Apvo.
there was a
Apvo.
very significant increase in the size of the workforce last year, and it was happening all during the year.
WGL, that is on a halt. If everyone's looking at that, 1015 is the target, 1040, there or thereabouts. But if you chase that, you have to be aware that you can come all the way back to 867. The minimum you should be looking for is a momentum play.
Coming down, the economy is bigger, and those are probably in part effect. This is without making any judgments on immigration or immigration policy, but I think that's an economic
I'm not
fact.
suggesting that. I'm just suggesting the facts are that we had 10 or 11 million jobs that were going unfulfilled in our economy. They lacked the productivity that is necessary for success economically. And as part of that, clearly, immigration
IPA.
helped fuel
CRCT.
part of our revival.
LYT.
In fact, those were the people who were the essential workers when the rest of us were staying home. So I agree we need to do what is necessary to have a regularized
The
border.
double bottom
I
fillet
also
now
think
into that area.
IPA.
The context of immigration as a scourge is absolutely wrong. Let me turn to another question. In my view, the sticky inflation we've been seeing in the housing sector is principally due to the
So
massive.
Bria just holding this next buy side again at 205.
Fed's monetary policy report attributes
IPA.
the shortage to restrictive zoning, high
Is
interest
IPA
rates,
doing the same
tighter
thing
underwriting
as
by
Bria?
banks. I would also add to that list underfunding.
Kind of, right? It's holding buy sides. It hasn't failed its sell side, most recent sell side on IPA.
Of affordable housing. If the housing supply shortage continues to grow, are we likely to see continued housing inflation?
Yes, we are.
And housing is already becoming less and less affordable for low and middle income Americans. According to the National Low Income Housing Coalition's 2023 Out of Reach report,
It's going to add a lot on there.
the minimum wage in New Jersey would have to work 2 full-time jobs to afford a modest one-bedroom rental home at fair market rent. Do you agree that increasingly unaffordable housing is a problem for the economy?
I think there are two things going on. One is a longer-term housing shortage, and the other is the pandemic effects and the associated higher interest rates, which are things that will pass through. When all that passes through and rates are normalized, we'll still have the underlying housing shortage, and it's going to be causing upward pressure on housing prices.
Now, the monetary policy report noted that, quote, home purchases by low-income households have fallen disproportionately more because mortgage lenders impose maximums on the ratio of a borrower's debt service payments to the borrower's income. I'm worried about how this dynamic will interact with the recently proposed capital requirements proposal, which, according to analysis from the Urban Institute, would disproportionately increase the cost of mortgages for Black, Hispanic, and low and income moderate borrowers. Given this, isn't there a risk that if the capital rules implemented without changes, that it could make it even harder for disadvantaged borrowers to attain home ownership?
There is a risk like that, and we're very focused on it.
And hopefully you're working to mitigate it.
AUUD.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
AUUD.
Senator Rounds from South Dakota.
AUUD.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Powell, welcome back. First of all, I've appreciated the way that you've approached the discussions in front of this committee,
SPPL.
and I understand your desire to stay as neutral as possible with regard to the politics involved in an election year. But I do have some questions here, specifically with regard to the Basel III Endgame proposal. An analysis of that proposal found that 97% were either opposing it or expressing substantial concerns. In the hearing last March on the Monetary Policy Report, you stated that the Federal Reserve is a consensus organization, and you said, and I quote, I will do everything I can possibly to bring people together in consensus and have a capital framework that could be broadly supported.
Everything really slowing up now. I've got time of day and the fact that this speech is on. They could ask him anything at any point, and that changes the
I believe that we
context of what
I'm fairly confident that we will have such a consensus.
LYT. LYT.
When we do.
the market is thinking.
We could expect that you will probably
MNMD.
not call a vote on the proposal until you believe that there is a
LYT.
consensus.
I think that's right. I mean, we're just in the process of digesting the comments and then making the appropriate
Brea.
changes.
Thank you.
LYT.
As you are aware, I've weighed in several times
LYT.
on the concerns that I have with regard to Basel III Endgame,
Brea.
including I'm concerned about the lack of transparency, the negative effects on mortgage lending and home affordability by disincentivizing banks from offering high loan-to-value loans that primarily help first-time home buyers and low to moderate income borrowers. I'm concerned that the proposal will make buying a home harder than it already is for many.
Brea.
And further down the road, I fear that it could
Okay, Brea, trying to
disincentivize
push again.
mortgage lending from
Brea.
the largest
MNMD.
particularly
MNMD.
with regard to the secondary market and
MNMD.
their
Brea.
M&D going for its highs. I
MNMD.
wonder if that pulled back for its.
Would you be willing
MNMD.
to withdraw the proposal or
MNMD.
repropose
Brea.
with significant modifications?
So Brea testing its sell side liquidity pool. M&MD.
Specifically with regard
Yeah,
to the
still
impact
trying to
of
push.
the
Another
trade
momentum play kind of there. Very close.
MNMD.
What would you see as the process for
LYT.
resolving these particular issues?
LYT.
On those
MNMD.
issues, we're well
Brea.
aware of
MNMD.
and very focused on those issues. We
MNMD.
haven't decided what to do about that yet.
So you can
but
see we
we're
come
getting
back
on those
for
issues
this
in terms
one
of
here. We didn't
process.
come back for this one here. It's
State of
continuing to
making that
push, just
decision.
holding.
I will say, if it turns out to be appropriate when we get to that point for us to repropose parts or all of the thing, then we won't hesitate to do so.
Okay, thank you. Makes me feel a little bit better because I do think there are some very serious problems that would occur if the Basel III Endgame as proposed goes into effect. And I most certainly am hoping that the Federal Reserve will find a consensus on this. And it sounds like that may very well include some significant modifications if it were to be brought in. Is that a fair
CEO said looking
MNMD.
short pop ready to 7 as opposed to getting in at, where it is now at 6.
Before it comes back to the committee
MNMD.
for consideration.
MNMD.
Thank you, sir.
MNMD.
Okay, into the first level of that
Limited level
MNMD.
of
benchmark now for
price
M&MD.
to help facilitate economic expansion,
MNMD.
reduce the risk of recession, and help businesses and consumers plan. However, during the Biden administration, we saw inflation climb to 13%, and those prices are now the new norm. Make it a policy not to comment on the administration's fiscal policy, but it is well known that I really do believe that high inflation and high prices have been a direct result of President Biden's policies, failed in many cases, that the Federal Reserve has
Another
limited
push.
options to address some of the problems that these policies created. Unintended consequences from raising the federal funds rate as rapidly as you felt that you had to as the chair and as the committee. What are some of those? I know that we talked a little bit about SVP and the failure there, their ability to look at treasuries and the increasing interest rates and so forth. But can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you've seen that were negative with regard to trying to respond to those high inflation?
High interest rates are hard for businesses. They're hard for people. They're the thing that they're the tool that we have to use to bring inflation down. And our job at this time, when high inflation comes, it is the Fed's job to restore price stability, and that's what we're doing.
Okay, so watching this area now, that's a nice push up there. See if we want to go higher. Anyone short in tens is getting an issue, so we're just looking for this overextension to kind of play itself out now. I can't continue up like that for much longer with this kind of aggression, surely. So let's see if we're not going to get
BYON.
A surprise. It's not consistent with the historical record, but it's a real positive thing.
But thank you. I just know the only tools you had available were demand side tools.
That's
right.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Senator Warner of Virginia is recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Powell, it's great to see you. I would point out to my good friend from South Dakota, I do think, if we'd gone back a year to 18 months ago, nobody would have predicted a soft landing. And I know you're not ready to declare victory by any means, but the fact that inflation has come down, I actually think some of the things like the CHIPS bill, the infrastructure bill, and some of President Biden's policies have actually kept the economy growth rate at the levels.
Okay, here we go. Let's see if that's it now. So
seeing a dramatic rise in
the totally aggressive anticipation of this, which I don't recommend.
Have the opportunity to litigate over the next 8 or 9 months. I want to take my time on issues around less about monetary policy and more about regulation. I think we can never presume that we're out of the woods on financial stability, as we saw with the New York Community Bank yesterday.
Yeah, here it comes.
And the capital infusion. One area that I raised with you a year ago, I want to re-raise today, and that is non-bank lending. The fact that non-bank lending in terms of to non-financial firms now is actually exceeding regulated bank lending. And let me be clear, I've got, the non-bank financial sector has done productive things in our society over the years. But when folks like President Dudley and former Governor Grosner recently said that they had worries about this reliance on the non-bank financial sector could lead to overall economic lack of stability, I guess, what do you think, I've got a 3-part question, what do you think are the risks as we see this push-out effect of more and more lending going outside the regulated perimeter to the non-bank?
Okay, that's pushing off aggressively now. It was hardly a touch there. Just missed that.
How much do we really know about these institutions? And one of the things... They have very smart, sophisticated investors, but if those very smart, sophisticated investors said, well, hey, we don't like the lending profile right now, and we want not making additional loans for the next 6 to 9 months, do you think our system would be able to pick up the slack?
So we have the regulated banking system where you've got a lot of transparency, you've got deposit insurance, you've got access to discount regulation. If you go outside that, most of the funding that we see now in these vehicles is sophisticated investors who are actually limited partners, meaning they can't pull their money out. They've signed a contract, they've funded these deals. And so what you see now in the non-bank financial sector is significantly, it's that kind of thing. So it doesn't have the run risk. The point is, the bigger it grows and the more diverse it gets, it is
IPA coming off now. CLZ, I'm looking for 7, not quite getting it. I want that push from this buy zone to 7.
That financial structure too can bring
this is the time of day that we can all sorts can happen, right? So if I see that push to 7, this is not the time really to do it, because we could push to 9s and then we get the fade for the day. But I'm going to look for it to see if we can't get something off it. But if it doesn't give quick resolution, then I'll cover it.
And that sophisticated investor may rightfully say, hey, we don't want you to lend anymore.
M&M just got an alert up there around 680. M&MD coming off real nice and hard, not giving me an opportunity to get in this.
Completely dry up. And one of the things I never completely understood until I got a little better explanation recently, why the large regulated banks weren't more complaining about this non-bank lending. But as I got to understand a little bit more of the, and again, I'm not per se criticizing on the non-bank lending, but many of the regulated banks actually lend to these large institutions, so they make money off of those relationships, and maybe that's again an explanation of why they're not being more critical. I only got 40 seconds left, but I would like to come back to another thing that we've talked about a lot, and that is the question of use of the discount window. One of the original tools that the Fed had. I know banks say, well, we're concerned about the stigma. I've got some legislation that would actually require mandatory use of the discount window. I'd love to comment on that. And also just the idea of having the mechanics of the discount window open, potentially even
So Brea stuck in between these buy side and sell side, just tested the high side of that.
if they wanted to use it in the non-bank hours.
Be careful with Brea, that could go. So take note of the, that's what I was just going to say, there would be sellers coming in here and a close under at 206, just as they did there. Yeah, that colour change that they see. So Brea sell side short confirmed now. Just doing its things. Time of day. LYT trying to push out of its buy side zone. It's got to compete with here. So the gap to trade is from 10 to 11. CLZ.
But thank you for being here. I want to get back on this Basel III proposal. Senators Lummis, Coons, Gillibrand, and I.
Okay, so now watching to see if this 7 level can push in here.
With the current proposal, but I think it's also worth noting that the number of other organizations, a diverse group that are not normally aligned on policy. You got Bank Trades, National Housing Conference, NAACP,
WNNR, that is a resume on WNNR.
Coalition, the list goes on. Who have concerns with the current proposal. I think we're and so I'm in the category of people who think that it should be one of the reasons why I did not support Mr. Barr's nomination is I felt like we were going to be here. I mean, it was pretty clear to me before he ever got confirmed on the board that we were going to be in this place some months or years later, and here we are. And I think that the industry felt the same way. All of these stakeholders. Some of them are in banking trade. Some of them are on the other side of the spectrum. So I'd like to cast my vote or provide some weight to the idea that we should repropose it. And what we ought to do is talk about the reality of increasing capital, or the prospect of increasing capital requirements doesn't concern me. I think the prior Fed supervisor had made comments publicly that maybe we needed to raise capital standards. But what we did here in this proposal, and I heard in that dialogue, is let's deal with puts and takes. Let's talk about raising capital requirements, but let's also talk about reducing the cost of the regulatory burden today if we can do it responsibly. There's no evidence of that in the current proposal, and I think that may actually produce comments that would be instructive to a final proposal that I think realistically will include some increase in capital requirements. So over what time horizon do you think we would...
Let's give that a break for the minute.
LYT. LYT 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 LYT.
So we got to 675. I wanted 7, but you know.
Apvo. Apvo. LYT.
So the gap now tried before didn't get. Is this the time that we can fill down to 5?
NKGN. LYT 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 LYT.
So looking to push again now. You can go to 17's lit. See, that can be the nicest buy down there. Just wait for it to rest, and then as you hear it coming out, there's a buy on. The whole move. Yeah, it's literally made that one bigger pretty much. We'll just bring it down.
LYT. Apvo. LYT. Apvo. 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 Apvo.
Let's see if we get momentum out of that. It'd have to break their 13.50, but there's $1.50 in every move here.
Apvo. LYT. 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 Apvo. 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 LYT. LYT. Apvo. LYT. 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 MNMD.
MNMD. Oh, is that a momentum play on MNMD? It's time of day for me right now. I don't like trading. I normally need to walk away at this time because it just becomes a bit of a pain, but that is a last ditch momentum play there on MNMD. 1 2 3 4 5. It would have to drop now down to 870 for MNMD. So we've got to get out of that low there. Got to get out of these lows for that to play out. So last ditch momentum play here on MNMD. Just taking a quick short, see if I can't get something off it. It will literally be a countdown to see if it drops here, either VWAP or not, because if it doesn't do it within the next kind of 30 seconds, I'm not that interested. Given the time of day, I'd much rather, if this pulls back, it's got all the way up to 1050 to pull back here. So there we go. We need to break this level now. Need to break this level. 2 seconds left on this candle. Can this one continue to the downside, or is it testing lows again? It's just testing these lows right now. It needs to break 925. Why can't I draw anything on this chart? Yeah, it needs to flush below these two levels right now. This is it. Can't give it much longer. CLZ. What is CLZ doing? Not a great deal. Tesla coming off its sell side zone again. Another sell on Tesla. Still didn't make it down here, so that's what I'd still be looking for this afternoon. Just time of day right now, so I'm going to take a break in a minute and come back later. So 954 has got a hold for this. This is no longer this is what the difference between consolidation and a range now. As far as I'm concerned, we're kind of now in a range because we did not drop on this candle down. That was going to be a momentum play. You can clearly see the momentum has dropped out of it right now. It's not to say it cannot drop, but it is not a momentum play anymore. This is a range. That edge has kind of gone a little. All the while 54 holds. It's kind of okay. But not loving it right now. I'm not loving it because of the gap it's got all the way up to get that liquidity up to 1050 if it wants it. I'd much rather it drop down to 860 and then try and mess about and go for it. Right, so a break of 50 is no good. LYT's making a massive push up now. Looking for 17 LYT. There's a beautiful buy there from 10 up to 17. It's now at 16. It's just rejecting 16, but the benchmark is at 16.75. That is an absolutely beautiful move. That is clear. I will talk through this one in a sec. LYT, look. Pre-market highs. They get long the pre-market highs. Okay, we've got the target up there. This is bogey level. It's going to close on the bogey level. Don't like that week. The level's up there at 17. 16.75. It does not run for it. It takes those initial longs in that get absolutely stumped and have to close all their positions out. It holds the buy side liquidity for the swing of the up move, and then holds. Then you hear lit on the tape, and you hear it a number of times. We broke two sell sides. The main one here where it's just got its own momentum from, and the first one here at 10.50 for the long side, and up it goes. Literally, that is a $6 profit at the moment on that trade. CELZ. Is Brea doing the same? No, Brea is still short side. Is double bottoming to here. So keep an eye on that. I think that is done for the day, don't you? No, it's still holding 50% of its up run. So literally $1 to $3.20. So as long as it can hold like $1.50, it's still in the upside. If we fail 185 though, consistently 140 is the area. Z, looking to see MNMD's just broke its base that it was building. Wow, it's trying to. Right, CELZ has just broken that. Let's see. There's the gap. We've got the 200 moving average here. It's time of day is the only thing that's going to stop what's happening right now. It's down here. Don't know why that's so big. That got inundated earlier on in pre-market. So yeah, that's the gap right now. I feel like this could all day fade and just keep pulling back. But I'd love, yeah, flushes at this time of day are few and far between. And MNMD. So I'm short CELZ and short MNMD. The MNMD was the momentum play, which was not momentum, is it? But it's, you know, a kind of a range plus. What just all that kept me in that trade was the sell side liquidity sitting here. And like all the way, I think 54 was my number. All the way that can hold, I might as well stay in. But now I'm looking for 868 on that. What's this? A VWAP? So we don't want a VWAP play here. We do not want a color change. We just want to push through that right now. Because you're going to get retail wanting to get long down here on a color change anyway. MSAI was the short from earlier, right? Wow. That was my pre-market short this morning. It's got to be a short pop. You're going to see shorts come in surely at $4 here. MSAI. Come on. There's 404. Oh, that's a break for me. That needs to reject off 4. All right, so you've got to be careful here. So I think them shorts are going to come in here at 4. I think they are already in. The issue is time of day on shorts. And oh, they're in. There they are. There they are. There's their faces. So yeah, the risk is up here that it goes 550 given time of day. CLZ doing just the same. CLZ an aggressive short on here. If it can hold, you've got to be careful. This time of day, you don't want to be in shorts. You really do not want to be in shorts. The LYT sounds like it wants to come and have another look up here at 16. I'm going to put a alarm up here. Holding the backside of that pole. Here come the short try on CLZ now. Lit, I think, is going to push up for that 17 level. I really do, but Got to break above 1450 for. It wants it can come back to 1150. Ooh. Right, I think I'm going to wrap that up for the session here, guys, today. Looking at the NQ, just to give you a cue on the overall market here. Oh my God, I do that every time. Why is that the only one you can't type in NQ? Because it says NQ on the drop down and it's actually NQ1. So if you're looking at it on a smaller time frame, the liquidity has been holding all throughout that speech. Around here. Sorry, my bad. Here. And then once here. And then this most recent one is here on the buy side. Its sell side is sitting here. So new highs if we break this sell side liquidity, and new lows if we break the buy side. Right now, time of day, I'd leave it for a couple of hours and come back to it, because it could stay like that for a while. In any case, just to recap, BREA then pushing new lows, has been holding sell side all morning. Literally from the open, that was a morning play, a pre-market play. Got to get up early for these shorts at the moment. They are playing out in pre-market. They are hard work in the live session. Lit is probably the next on my radar to see what it does. I think it's going to pull back and try and get 1180. We'll see if it confirms any downside after that, but I don't know if that's kind of just a miss or just close enough. Certainly seen some, but we've seen this kind of like it's literally almost a repeat of that pattern here, just come down and grab liquidity and then went up again. So it might not be over for LYT, but you got to look between 1120 and 1180 to see if we get that buy side rejection and pull out. CLZ's just popping up to its next pull that it wants. That is the risk of CELZ, that it's still got it up here. And this time of day, I don't trust anything on these shorts. These have literally just been running PM after lunch and then fading kind of come 4 p.m. not 4 p.m. fading after 2 o'clock. So everything pushing with the NQ right now. If you look at the NQ is doing this. You've got the only other position I'm in is MNMD. There comes the money on the tape there. If you break this one, you are probably going to the next one quite convincingly. So here comes that play on MNMD. You've just got these buyers in here. That's caused this wick at this area. You didn't get the color change, but the color change was just before it. So I'm thinking they are on this one here at the VWAP because it was so close to these moving averages. So if we get paid now, that will be down to kind of 870. If we can come stop these guys out that have got their stop down there at 880. Obviously, they don't know the liquidity pool's down there and we can come and get it. But a lot of times, if this entry is in here, like if these align, then it's a really good trade. It's not yet over there. It didn't stop them out. That did not stop them out. Okay, we get a color change now that's going long because that is exactly where they want it. It's a second attempt there. So one was the VWAP. This is the one they want. If that green closes above 906, they're going to be a crap load of retail long. And that's what I said earlier on, literally about 50 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago. Right, so here it comes. If MNMD comes on the tape now, it's not going to stop them out. It's going to go with. NQ at the minute looking like it wants to roll round here as a short on 61. If we can get momentum into the downside, that's what it's looking like at the minute. LYT just missing that 12. Stopped at 12.35. The money's coming in. Is that going to now push to 17? So if you're really going to see momentum smash it, LYT has to break 13.70 in order to get to 15. Let's see if it dries up. Uh-oh. Let's see if they can come in again. Short on NQ playing out right now. So money flow dried up on LYT. I think it does want it. I just think it's going to come down further and get it out. Right, so I'm covering everything right now. Don't like anything. I just think we're going to get played. I think we're going to get played on LYT. I think it's going to come down to 11.85 and then go to 17. I think CELZ, yep. It wanted its sell side liquidity higher up, so we failed this one just to get it, and then the shorts have come in at that level. So yeah, it's just not a great time to anticipate those shorts. The shorts are pre-market. When you hit the buy side, the lowest buy side liquidity pool from the pre-market run, that's the time to start thinking about your longs when you hear them come in on the tape. They're the lowest ones you can buy for $1 there. MNMD I still think is coming down. I'm just not sure that it doesn't want to take a look higher again. M&MD is just like it definitely wants one of these levels. What's the whole run here? Let's just make this one for the whole move here. Right. $8. $8 on M&MD. Mark any one of these up really to be that. Yeah, 8 to 7 on M&D. That's his resting place for the day. The trouble is, I don't think it's going to go straight there. You've got, where is this guy? This guy's coming all the way down, lower, lower, lower. So this one now is at this level. So M&MD, don't rule out a spike to 10, 20, 10.50. Else the ultimate target is down there at 8. IMRN didn't really look at today, still a bit sideways there. LYT just said 12, possibly 17 to get after that. CELZ maybe short for the day, but given again that's still buy side held. I'll tell you what you're going to need to do on this one. So basically, right here, right now, is the buy liquidity to push and break that sell liquidity. M&D I think is going to start coming on the tape, and that is also, that's going to push for 10. I think I just not convinced on that. So CLZ coming in buy side there. There's another one just below it. Look, that's why it's coming. Now, when you get these momentum moves, there's one liquidity pool that it generates. One. It's kind of like this drop gives us that. We've got the initial kind of one that we look for up here. This drop gives us one. Then we're down to the benchmark. That's it. And we anticipate the smash of benchmark to get down there. This is just working its way through now. Look, literally from 3:30, which is 10:30. There's just a whole bunch of action that really isn't nice to be in. That's what you want to be taking there. That's it. Anything else after that, don't really want. IPA is a bit better. IPA is a bit better as a pre-market short. That's the trade you want on IPA. Pre-market short down to this buy side liquidity pool, and now it is fading off. So I'd say look out for a bigger pullback for a off these lows given the time after lunch. I think you will get a retail play. Wow. Okay, try that again. I think these two moving averages will align with this pool, and you'll get a decent short there on IP8. That looks like it's going to be your all-day fade. Yeah, I think let's see if that NQ's messed about or not. Okay, so yeah, there's the sell side liquidity kind of working at the moment. Let's see if the NQs wants to drop from there. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap that up for today. Have a good day. I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. I'll be here for the pre-market again. And we'll see what we get out of that. So, all right, guys. So, another one trying to short those early birds. See what we get. All right, guys. Thanks very much. I will see you soon. See you tomorrow.